Hello there. Welcome back to my channel. This video, I want to look at a question from the question paper of June 2019. And this is our paper one from the Northwest Province. So we are going to look at section A, which is the first part of the question paper. And this section is compulsory. So we're going to start on multiple choice section, whereby it reads A or N tries to predict what the future would look like. It reflects the dream of where the business will find itself somewhere in the future. So you're given responses of a mission statement, a vision, objective, purpose. So you'd see that the correct response that we have is a vision, which we are having on B. Remember the description of a vision, it describes what a company desires to achieve in the long run. In the long run, so I would see that we are talking about the future to come. So that's what we have in terms of a vision. So which makes it the correct answer. So we move on to the next part, which is the law that protects a person's intellectual property is called. We are given copyright, patent, piracy, trademark. But the correct response that we have is a copyright. So remember, a copyright it gives its owner the exclusive right. That is the exclusive legal right to copy or even display a creative work, usually for a limited time. So that is a copyright. So basically, it protects the original work as soon as the owner fixes the work in a tangible form of expression. So that is a copyright. So that's makes copyright the correct response. Move on to the next part. One of the social factors that influence the consumer's behavior is we are given motivation, family, perception, attitude. So you'd see that the correct response that we have is attitude. So I would say that there is a relationship that exists between the attitude and the consumer behavior. So you would see that consumer attitudes impact directly on behavior by shaping how customers interact with products and services, influencing decisions at every stage. So we are saying at every stage through influencing post-purchase evaluations and also subsequent behaviors. So that's what we have in terms of attitudes as it is related to consumer behavior. We go to 1.1.4. Intermediaries operate in the Dutch sector of the economy or given market, primary, second, and tertiary. And the correct response that we have is a tertiary sector. Then we go to the next question. Business dash is often defined as managing the triple bottom line. So basically, the triple bottom line, I would see that uh, it is a sustainability framework. So that makes sustainability the correct response that we have, we would be. Then moving on to the next part of the question, which is now 1.2. It reads, complete the following statements by using words provided in the list below, right? Only the word or words next to the question numbers, that is 1.2.12, 1.2.5 in the answer book. So we are given different responses that you can pick in line with the explanations that are given beneath. So the first part, A or N dash takes place when one business buys another business. So you would see that the correct response that we have there is acquisition. So acquisition becomes the correct response. So we can include our acquisition as the correct response. So we are saying on 1.2.1, we are saying the correct response is acquisition. So this is what we have on that part. And then we move on to the second part, which is the dash refers to the statistical data relating to the population in particular groups within it, e.g., age and gender. So you're going to see that it's demographics. Remember, demographic, it is a statistical study of human populations that is their size, composition, and how they change. So all describes demographics. So we have demographics on 1.2.2. So moving on to the next part of the question. Uh, Clear directives of how the business intends to achieve its vision. Basically, it's objectives. We have objectives there. So you see that description of an objective, it obviously gives the direction that needed to be in line with what needs to be achieved. So that's what we have. So we have objectives 1.2.3. We'll move on to the next question. Ethical misconduct in the business. We can check in terms of what can be an ethical misconduct in the business. We see that we've got corruption, and obviously we need to describe it. Corruption basically is dishonest or fraudulent conduct by usually those in power, typically involving bribery. So that's corruption. So we have corruption, 2.4. So on 1.2.5, a dash is a form of protest by community members about lack of service delivered. So what can be a protest? According to responses given, you see that we've got political unrest, which is 1.2.5. So that's what we have on that part. And then we move on to the next part, which is going to be 1.3. So 1.3 needs us to choose for column B that matches the term in column A. So we see that we have got descriptions column B, then we've got column A. So we start with the first one that we have, which is economic crime. So we need to see which explanation do matches economic crime in terms of our column B. So if you go according to explanations given, you'll see that we go to F, which is those committed for financial gain and involve deception and fraud rather than violence. So this is what we have in terms of economic crime, which is F on the first part. Then 1.3.2, we have got counterfeiting. And counterfeiting, basically when it's a counterfeit, it's a fake or unauthorized replica of the original product, usually affects money or documents. So that's what we have in terms of counterfeit. So we try to check what explanation do we have which matches counterfeiting. So we go down according to explanations given. If you go to G, is saying illegal copying or protected goods without the consent of the owner. So that is what we have, which is G, which we can put as our response. Then we've got strategic allies. Strategic allies are basically strategic allies. It occurs when there is an agreement between two or more parties to pursue a set of agreed upon objectives are needed while remaining independent organizations. So they obviously agree on certain set objectives, and obviously at the end of the day, they will remain independent themselves, the organizations that are inside the strategic ally. So this is what we have. So we try to check again about the explanations given. What do we have? That two matches that. So going down the explanations that we are given, we see that we have I, which is a joint venture established to achieve a common goal, is the most appropriate that we have. So we have I. Then 1.3.4, we have bargaining. Bargaining. So we need also to check about bargaining. Is obviously there are obviously discussions between people in order to reach an agreement on something. So that's bargaining. So according to responses are given again, we need to see what we have that do matches that. So we go down. So if you go to H, an acceptable agreement reached after negotiation. So we have H as the correct response. So the next one is a globalization, and a globalization basically is the interaction of world economies. The way different economies interact is a globalization. So you see that international trade is part of a globalization. So we are saying basically at the end of the day, we are saying is the increase of trade around the world. That is globalization. So we're trying to see again the responses that we are given. What do we have that matches globalization? We have a trend for businesses and countries to trade across international borders. So that's what we have. We have A as the correct response. And this is the last part that we have according to our section A of the question paper of June 2019. So thank you for listening, and we'll meet again in the next video.